Hello, Playful Eco Warriors, and welcome to another episode of Climate for Fun. We haven't had it for each other for a while now, but this is the podcast that turns climate change into a laughing matter for, how much you can do it. Here's Antonio Solituri, your host, and I'm thrilled to have Dr. Giuseppe Cantafio and Afzal Muna with me today. Welcome, guys, and thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you. Good to have you. And so now, are you ready to laugh at climate change?
Hope so.
It's tough, but let's crack on. Let's try. Okay, so first question is for you, Afzal. So I read your blog on COP30, and my attention was caught by one section in particular, which is called "The Fossil Fuel Elephant Remain in the Room." Yeah, so my understanding is that petrostates are opposing or at least delaying the transition to clean sources, right? So my question to you is, how can we push petrostates to phase out fossil fuels faster?
Thank you. So, no offense, Dr. Giuseppe, you might not like my answer, but we will go ahead. So, the answers I prepared for myself is there are 3 points, 3 important points that actually we had to go through. Number one is it's a combinations. It's a combinations of political pressure and economic incentives and technological alternatives. Now, at the moment, we look into the agreement. So if I go into the first points, which is international agreements has to be reached at some point. I mean, I think we have so much of negotiations. We need to make it an enforcement, right? So that's the thing that we have to go ahead. And we also need to set a target, which is very smart. That means that we must have to say that, look, we want to achieve it on so-and-so date and so-and-so month and so-and-so year. We cannot just say, okay, let's do it. So that's the first thing. And I also would say that on the second point, the wealthy nations and the developmental banks need to support financially as well, is because the petrostates, they rely on these fossil fuels economically, and shifting them or asking them to change from the fossil fuel use to something else, unless we are producing or giving them an alternative of renewable energies or green energies, is going to be very difficult for them. And on the third point that I would like to focus more on is that global demand on the fossil fuel has to decline. I mean, we need to look into the mechanisms and the areas and the ways that how we can actually reduce the use of fossil fuel. Otherwise, it's going to be as a rolling balls of of discussions on different stages, on and on and on. So I think it's a combinations of all these three, and if we can bring those three together as a triangle and we connect those 3 dots, I think the solution is there.
Okay, well, it sounds hopeful. Yeah, and thanks for your in-depth solution, I say. But, one thing I want to focus on, COP30 saw a record-breaking presence of fossil fuel lobbyists, right? So this doesn't sound good to me, okay? It's like, I don't know, a record-breaking presence of neo-Nazi at an Holocaust memorial. Right? I mean, Giuseppe, what do you think about that? I mean,
that's a nice metaphor you put there. Wow. I think it's important that everybody is involved, and probably, let's say, the proportion was not there of all communities involved. It was a bit disproportionate towards those kind of lobbyists. So I agree with your joke. I think there are some strengths and weaknesses of the last COP30. So some progress has been done on, for instance, climate finance. Finally, we're putting finance elements, accounting elements. We're talking about money, 1.3 trillion a year, which is staggering, very high level of commitment at this point. However, as you said, there have been a lot of failures, a lot of weaknesses. For instance, the fact that these lobbyists were there and applied pressure to the organization, to the COP.
It's their job, isn't it?
Yeah. The result was that fossil fuels was not even mentioned in the final report. There is a single reference to fossil fuel.
Really?
It's
incredible. Word fossil fuel is never mentioned, right?
It's becoming taboo. You can talk about all the drugs, sex, rock and roll, but you cannot mention fossil fuel no more.
Yeah, you can swear to God, like you can.
You can do all you
oh my
want,
God,
but you
sorry.
cannot talk about fossil. We haven't addressed the elephant fossil in the room at this stage. Over 80 countries agreed, but they didn't mention fossil. And I would say another thing, not enough ambition as well. Not enough ambition. The deadlines are too loose. They're too lenient. We're talking about 2035 now, not anymore 2030 in many of
So
the
Agenda 2030 became Agenda 2035 now, I guess.
Yeah, which is very alarming. Kind of pushing the deadline, you know. So that 1.5 degrees, remember, target that we wanted to aim to. I don't know if we're gonna
I
hit
mean,
the
if you
target.
think about, if you put that into a sort of business context, you know, can you imagine like someone asking you for a project to be finished? Oh no, sorry, we are delaying it 5 years. What the hell? I mean, seriously, that doesn't make any sense. Anyway, so you know, let's talk about this delay. This delay is a crazy, you know, it's got a crazy impact, I think, on younger generation, right? So, talking about that, Taylor Swift was appointed as the global youth engagement ambassador for COP30, okay? Which is not bad for someone whose private jet flies 100 times a year, right? What do you think, Afzal? Do you have any comment on that?
Well, I thought that we're gonna have some musics before, but
Yeah, I mean, well, in post production, we're probably gonna have that. Yeah, I'm sure. Hey, have you got any preference? Any favorite song?
No, not really, not really. Yeah, but we can after the sessions, I can suggest you some. Yeah, I mean, look, the Taylor Swift. I think it's the most influential person at the moment to the young generations, right? So she has got a huge potential to impact and mobilize this enforcement of this very demanding topic. But yeah, yes, you are very right saying so that somebody is being an ambassador of such a novel cause. On the other hand, you know, using private jets and making a carbon emissions by herself is really a question. But I think if these things can be, you know, coming to a situations where she can consider that how she's gonna make her troubles, whether she's gonna use any alternative modes of transportations and so on, which can be more green and sustainable compared to making her chartered flights. I think she still can bring a lot of influences because she has got a massive platforms of millions of viewers and young generations really crazy about her. So I remember when she came to London last time, you can imagine that sort of craze can actually create a big fuss about it. And well, I mean, I hope so, because you see, the young generation, this is the biggest challenge that we are having now, right?
No, sorry. I asked, did you go to the concert?
Oh no! I couldn't. I mean, it's on my financial ability, I must say. So I think the most important thing for us here is to look into that, how we can utilize the influences that she has got, because young generation do not like, as you say, that, well, I'm going to deliver the projects tomorrow and then I'm just, can I take another 5 years? They don't like that. They want the things to be done. For example, I mean, I have seen most people having an attitudes of Nike, for example, right? Just do it, right? We don't have time to. So if you think of something, you need to give us a solid. When you shift it from there, that is actually against the ethical protocols of the implementations process as well. So being a business lecturer, I must say that when you have set an objectives, you must set a target as well, and you must have to adhere to the target. I mean, I think she can still be a good ambassador if we can utilize it in an ethical way.
But okay. Well, I hope so, to be honest, because it's good to use that influence for a good cause. But probably you heard about this, but super rich are very good, are very fast at doing something. Yeah, there is something they are very fast at doing it. Is running out of their carbon budget. Yeah, it's 3 days they took in 2026. They just ran out already. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I don't know if you heard about this, but it became very viral news. Anyway, so let me recap on COP30, right? My take is that COP30 is driving humanity towards a specific point, right? That is Mars. Is that true, Giuseppe?
Yeah, I think we're going towards the terraforming of Mars soon. That's going to be the new the new objective, like a
Okay,
dystopian movie.
so I
Yeah,
took you right.
let's say that it's good to analyze some strength, and then we talk about some weakness. Some strength was the just transition mechanism that was introduced in COP30. I really like this point. They're thinking
Hmm.
about communities. They're thinking about the impact. Okay, we're going to shift the economy from the fossil-based economy towards a new
You said fossil.
economy.
No, 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 no.
Oh,
Shh.
I shouldn't say.
No,
I
you
shouldn't
said
say.
you can't say that. You in my podcast,
Yeah.
you can't say fossil fuel.
Okay. Sorry about my French, but basically we need to think about the families. So the people who are actually relying on these jobs, fossil-based jobs, what are we going to do for them? So there's this just transition mechanism that has been introduced in order to kind of a buffer for these families. So it's good that they're thinking about, because many economies are still too much relying on this old way of economy. So it's not possible when you implement a change, you also need to think about the transition. So I really like this just transition mechanism that was introduced. However, there are some points that we need to talk about. The reliance on voluntary process now is not anymore mandatory, but it's voluntary, led by Brazil because of the Amazon forest. So there is a lack of legal accountability. It's kind of a bit of voluntary basis. So
If you
it's really,
want, yeah.
if you want, yeah, if you want, you can chip in. And another bad thing outcome was that the metrics that they set, they were not really let's say shared or accepted by all the countries. For instance, there was a problem with the Latin American countries and African countries, and the indicators were not clear for these countries. So it seems like the indicators are vague, the metrics were unrealistic for these countries, for this diverse economy. So I was thinking probably we need to shift the mindset. The mindset here, it seems like it's dictated by the Western countries, and they're not thinking like other countries, developing countries or countries that are developing in a different way. So I think we're still not there. So the dilution of adaptation and accountability was not good. And also at the end, climate finance gap remain, there is a big gap. So is it achievable to do $300 billion a year? So there is many points that, as you say, they're gonna probably drive us towards Mars.
No, I mean, I don't agree with the point that, the developed country are not helping out developing countries. Take Trump in Venezuela. I mean, he's helping them out. I mean, taking all the petrol and managing for them. I mean, is it not a form of help? Is it? Is it not?
Are we allowed to be political here now?
Yeah, well, why not? I mean, climate change is politics, isn't it?
Well, it's a two level viewpoint, isn't it? The way you view, which is obviously being very optimistic, but then there are politicals and business motives behind that as well. So we all know. So that can be another podcast.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, we probably should do an episode just on that, I suppose. Yeah. And I didn't even say Greenland. Yeah, that's another very bad word. Okay, let's. Oh, actually, I had. Okay, let's conclude with these questions. For you, Afzal, or both, to be honest. So, tell me the most important thing that must happen at COP31, other than just talking and talking and talking.
So I will pick from Dr. Giuseppe what he was saying. I mean, I think it becomes slightly loosened. And when, we need to understand, I mean, this is the basic English that we need to understand. What is the meaning of mandatory, what is the meaning of optionals, right? So I think it's become very loosened when we make it optional rather than, this is something that we should do. So legally binding a global commitment, that should be my main point. It should be legally binded, because if you don't have it, then I will do it. No, if there is no such strong commitment, that's one. And also I will pick his second point, what he mentioned about the financial contributions, right? We need to find out an ethical mechanisms of the country, those who are financially strong, to support others. And COP31 should target and specify to achieve 1.5 degrees, right? So if that is not there, then, without strong accountability, I believe it is not going to work. So if COP31 happens, the COP31 should shift, or I should say must shift, from negotiation to enforcement. So there should not be any word like the way we are now using the word fossil. We're not using the word. So 31, we are not going to use the word negotiation. We'll be just simply using enforcement.
Fair enough. So I think perhaps one thing we should do in COP31 is an English course, right? Just to understand the terms very well. Probably there might be a lost in translation issue, right?
I think also, if I can chip in and say also an echo the words of Afzal on COP31. I think the model is not working, simply not working. The COP model is, we can say that it's a failure. Next year is going to be COP31 in Turkey, and it's going to be chaired by Australia. So I'm thinking you are hosting a big global convention, but then the host is a country in another continent with completely different target.
Why is that?
So I still have to get my head around it. Maybe there are some technical. I don't know.
Yeah,
anyway, what I would suggest is to not to dismantle everything, because a lot of work has been done, but we need to shift towards local, I would say, conventions rather than a global one. So first, we need to agree on a local level what we want to do. So the different trade blocks, and then after that we can come together. Otherwise, as it is now, like some big nations are not willing to actually participate at all, and all the work is being done by other smaller nations. So at the end, the global model of COP, I suggest to shift it to a more local model.
Okay, so basically COP. To do, let's say, like a COP in Europe, a COP in South America, a COP in, I
would say much more work would be done in that way, thinking more about what are the local interests, and there's going to be less pressure from global, let's say, geopolitical events that way.
My work.
So
you might write a paper about this. I mean, has anybody ever suggested that, like to?
No, but we're going to do it. But we're going to do it. We're
going to do a different model for COP. That's interesting, to be honest.
I mean, I would chip in as well. I think that's a good point, that we actually can start working on suggesting these models to these big participants. But what I understand is that, again, going back to your suggestions of having an English courses, is we always say that one size doesn't fit everyone. So why we are trying to implement something in in Australia, and then we are going to implement the same to Bangladesh or India. I mean, if we go with usability, I mean, who are the people uses this most, who are contributing to the disadvantage more, and then we make tailor-made what it calls suggestions.
It's a tailor. Sorry, tailor-made. Well, Taylor Swift made, you mean?
Well, it's not, and well, it could be. You never know. So I think that would serve better. So because bringing the local communities and their ideas, their initiatives, and then doing something just for them, that might help, rather than coming up with a global. Because when you come up with a global notion or a global achievement target, that might not fit to that particular country's financial
not true
structure.
because every area has got its own problems, its own cultural background, I guess. So probably it might work better. But yeah, I'm waiting to read your paper on that, to be honest. Um, okay, so have you got any question at this time or any jokes you want to say or
Yeah,
something?
I would say I have a couple of puns. So one is
No,
a,
go for it.
let's
Go for it.
say, school-like joke. So
Okay.
COP30 is like a group project with 190 students. Of these 190 students, not everyone show up. A few do the work, and the final work is diluted, watered down, not to upset no one. So at the end, it's a very, very basic work that gets done by
Yeah,
few people.
so basically, yeah, COP is a very good model for university workshops, let's say.
Yeah, in order to piggyback on someone else, free riders and people who piggyback on others' work.
It's
Yeah,
interesting.
that's actually the right fit, Dr. Joseph, because
Yeah,
I must say that, yeah, we form the groups by saying that this is a group assignments or it's a group projects, and then you know that only few people works and the rest are like sleeping partners, but they get the credit when they get the grades. It's a dilemma for us as well as an academic.
so have you tried to implement a role playing activity in a
Yeah.
university workshop?
Usually
Yeah,
when you do this kind of activities, you tend not to have big groups because one of the drawbacks of the big groups is that this free riding happens. So what we do, we try to break
Free
it down to
riding.
free riding.
Define
Yeah,
free riding. What do you
mean? So the best thing is to do small groups. Small groups, there
okay.
is real engagement and people will show up. There is
yeah, and
no.
I and what we also do is that with the small groups, like I can say, with the small groups, you also designate roles. So, for example, you are going to be playing these roles, you are going to be playing these roles. So you can't ignore that. You can't say, you can't hide behind somebody else because you have a role to play. So by default, you have to come out from your cave.
Okay. No, it's interesting. Cool. Ah, nice.
So COP summits, we can say, are where the world gathers to urgently agree to keep talking next year.
There you go. There you go. There you go. That's
Good one.
what I'm expecting from COP31. But one good thing at COP31 is that is in Turkey. So I'll probably consider going so that I can, think about,
You can apply some
yeah,
pressure.
kill two birds with one stone. No, it might be beneficial for me. But anyway, let's go. Let's go. It's quiz time now, right? Unless you have any other comments. But you ready for this?
I
We're
am
ready.
never ready for quiz.
You can brainstorm if you like before answering, but basically there are three questions, like multiple choice questions. Only one answer is correct. So yeah, ready? Okay. Right. First question is what does COP stand for? Option A, Corporation of Pranks. Option B, Conference of Parties. Option C, Coyotes of Pennsylvania.
Option B.
Giuseppe, you confirm as well?
Yeah, I think we are option A instead. Corporation of Pranks. That's us.
Yeah, it sounds. I like Coyotes of Pennsylvania as well, but yeah, I must admit that the right answer here is B. Well done, Afsal. Second question: Who described climate change as the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world? Option A: Giuseppe Cantafio after drinking 10 beers. Option B: Afsal Muna after listening to Taylor Swift for 10 hours in a row. Option C: Donald Trump.
I'm pretty
Option
sure
C.
it was me. I'm pretty sure it was me back in the days. Hey,
Okay, so not now anymore because you're not drinking anymore. So you, Afsal, what do you say?
Option C.
Option C. Okay. So you are denying that you are listening to Taylor Swift for 10 hours in a row.
I
Do
don't
you
have
confirm that?
time. You
Okay.
wish I have 10 hours to listen to music.
it might shake it
Okay,
off
fair.
after 10 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe 10 minutes. 10 minutes, perhaps. Yeah. Okay, final question. Yeah, you've been doing very good so far. So last question is tough. Yeah. So what is AI washing? Okay, what is AI washing? So option A, the practice of telling Alexa to do the washing up for you. The practice of companies bragging about their AI being the lowest carbon ever. Option C, the practice of being brainwashed by ChatGPT.
Option C.
I really like this one as well. I really like B.
You really like B. And
B and
indeed, it is B. Well, you know what? I mean, on this one is a bit more nuance, to be honest, because I read different meanings of AI washing, but the closest one, the real one, of course, but the same one is very realistic to me, to be honest. It's becoming more and more realistic. Yeah. But well, you can try A as well. Yeah, you never know. But it would be good to have Alexa washing up for you, doing washing up for you. But yeah, B is the closest to reality at the moment. Anyway, well done, and I think we came to the end of this episode. Thanks again for participating. It was very fun. Okay.
Thanks so much, Antonio. Thanks
Thank you very much.
Bye bye
Thank you.
now. Bye. Thank you.